Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Glad you're with us today. What we're going to talk about today is what's better, exercise or diet? And this is a question I get a lot, and we're going to cover it today. We're going to go in depth as to what the pros and the cons are of both and what your goals, we have to talk about as well. So if you're new to the show, what I do is I talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, we're on a lot of different platforms. If you have any health questions at all, type it in your platform. I, at 24 minutes, will then answer your healthcare questions. At the end of another 24 minutes, we'll do the same thing. So it's a great opportunity for you to ask any health questions you have. And also, if you're listening live, put in hashtag live right now. If you're listening on a replay, put in hashtag replay. This way the bots of the world know that you're tuning in and what you're doing. So, but this is a great opportunity to interact, and we are live, so we'd love to make you part of the interaction. So, are you ready, Mr. Garrett? John, ready? Yes. All right. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with us today. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to answer the age-old question. What's better, exercise or diet? Now, with that question, we have to ask ourselves, what are we looking for? Do we want to lose weight? We want to live longer? We want to have better brain function? We want to have better rest? We want to go to the bathroom better musculature? So there's pros and cons to each one of them, but I want to cover the pros and the cons. And the good part about this is, don't get scared. The good part about this is that both of them are extremely easy to do. And you think exercise, maybe you're thinking, biking, 100 miles. Maybe you're thinking going to an aerobics class, hitting a gym and lifting weights. Exercise is movement. Just keeping the body in motion is so key to good health. That's what I want you to understand, that keeping the body in motion is what we have to consider. And when I say what's motion, walking is fine. Doing something like cross crawl, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's an excellent exercise. In fact, that's my favorite exercise, and I do it all the time. I do it before shows. I do it before lectures. I do it when I get up in the morning. And it's so easy, and I'll discuss it with you, and it's just amazing. The results. If I had to pick one exercise that's the easiest to do with the highest return on investment, it's a cross crawl. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So, results from a new study demonstrated the importance of exercise and movement in your health. Exercise may be one of the best preventative strategies for common illnesses, including heart disease and diabetes. I say one of the best because diet is the best when it comes to diseases. So you pick a disease, diet is going to be the key. And we'll talk about weight loss. I would say 80-85% of weight loss comes from diet. Only about 10 or 15% comes from exercise. So if you don't like exercising, don't get scared. Now, I've met a lot of people in my life, myself included, and I think there's people who do like exercising and those who don't. And it's really hard to transition somebody over. You're either a workout fiend or you're not. You might go through spurts where you work out, you feel great, and then you stop again. So we're going to discuss that. But what does it look like? What is really a workout? And it doesn't have to be what you're thinking as the standards. Now, the more time you spend sitting, the shorter your life expectancy. There's a bold statement right there. So the longer you sit, the harder it's going to be to live a long, happy life. And I do that too. If I come into my office and I have patients booked and I'm running around, I feel a lot better. If I have a paperwork day, I just don't feel as good. I don't have the energy because movement is going to be the key, not only for weight loss, which is second most important. Diet is more important for that there, but just for energy, for brain function, for life. How many of you come home from work and are exhausted? Raise your hand. A lot of you do. You're exhausted and you just say, you know what, I should go out tonight. I should go to this party. I should go shopping. I should go work out. But you know what? I am just wiped out. I'll do it tomorrow. And then you don't. If you stay mobile throughout the day, when you get home from work, you're going to have so many quality hours added to your life. And that's really what it's all about. We only have X amount. My father always said, it's in the book. Your life, it's in the book. Whenever it's done, it's done. So I don't know if I agree with him, but you have to keep the body in motion so that you can get more quality out of the quantity of hours that you have. One meta-analysis. Now, you know what a meta-analysis is? Let me explain this to you. Meta-analysis is somebody looks at a bunch of different studies and puts it all together and says, okay, what are all the studies combined telling us? Researchers found that those who sat the longest were twice as likely to have diabetes and heart disease compared to those who sat the least. So just getting out of your fanny, get your fanny up and moving around is going to be a key here. Now, this combination takes a high cost on you, on society, costs billions of dollars each year in healthcare costs and lost productivity. And I know I don't produce well when I'm sitting a lot. So if I sit, I'll even bounce my legs. Just keep my legs in motion. So just keeping the body moving is the key. One tip, and I'm going to give you lots of tips today. One tip is set your phone, set your computer. Every hour, have an alarm go off. And every hour, get up and move. Now, I want to talk about this cross-crawl thing. I'm probably going to talk about it twice here because it's that important. The way the body works is the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. So if I have a stroke and I'm paralyzed on my right side, that means the damage is to the left side of my brain and vice versa. So when I went to school, I was taught that if you have a stroke and brain cells are damaged, they're damaged forever and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, I was confused because then we were taught rehab for strokes, stroke victims. And doing rehab, chiropractic care, muscle work, stimulation could get some motion back in their body, sometimes 100% motion returned. So I said, wait a minute, one class is telling me that the brain cells are dead forever. Another class is telling me we can rehab the brain. Who was right? The second one was right. Turns out your brain is producing new brain cells constantly. You're constantly generating new cells. And if there is a damaged part of the brain can essentially rewire itself. It can wire itself around the damaged areas in many cases. This is called functional neurology. Neurology is the study of nerves. What do you do with it? And so functional neurology tells us that we can essentially rewire the brain in many cases, not all, but many. So we can do amazing things by keeping the body in motion. So most of us all day use one side of our body. We work the mouse, we brush our teeth, we start the car, we talk on a phone. I'm right-handed, so it would be my right side using the left side of my brain. Left side is logical, right side is emotional, generally speaking. So that being said, how do I kick in the right side of my brain? I have to use the left side of my body. Well, I don't like using the left side of my body. It doesn't do a whole lot. It doesn't throw well. It doesn't dial phones well. It doesn't do a whole lot. My right side's stronger and smarter. So what you do is something called a cross crawl. You integrate the brain. And what you can do, you can either do this standing up or sitting down. And I posted this on social media a couple of weeks ago, and boy, I got so many comments saying, what if you can't stand up? Because I did it standing up. Now, when I post on social media, I have 1 minute to post. Because TikTok, for example, only allows 1 minute posts, and then we take those posts and use them on other platforms. And I find that if we do a minute or less, people will pay attention. If I do more than a minute, people phase out. I do. See, I think our short attention span lifestyle has gotten all of us. So what you can do, and you can do it standing up or sitting down, take your right elbow and bring it to your left knee. Bring your knee up and your elbow down. Now, if you can't raise your legs, if you're paralyzed, just bring the elbow down. Then take your left elbow, bring it to the right knee. Right elbow, left knee, left elbow, right knee. I posted, do it 30 times an hour. And you would have thought I slapped somebody's kid. What do you mean 30 times an hour? I'm busy. You mustn't have a life. I have to work. 1%ers. The 99% of people are like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I said it takes about 30 seconds. It takes about a second to do each one of these. Now, if you can do 10 seconds, do 10 seconds. If you do 5 seconds, do 5 seconds. Anything that you do when it comes to being in motion, but specifically to cross crawl, is going to benefit your brain. It's going to benefit your energy. It helps your digestive system because you're rotating your body, your torso, and that's kind of squeezing the colon as well. So it gets the bowels working well. You're bringing your hips up. If you can do that, that's stretching out the hips. It's giving you a low back exercise. It's giving you an arm exercise because you're turning the body. Not a big exercise. Most important thing you're getting is resetting the brain. And when you do this, watch how much energy you get. You will be blown away. Now, you're saying to yourself, Dr. Joe, I don't even have 5 seconds an hour to give you. I'm that busy. Okay, I'm okay with that. As you're walking, it's kind of a funny little march you'll do. Right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Now, you look silly, but trust me on this one, guys. Do this 10 times an hour. Do it 30 times an hour, you'll be blown away. Do it 10 times an hour. Watch how you feel at the end of the day. You'll have so much more energy. You'll have so much more clarity of thought. Your balance improves. Then we can go on to other exercises. Or we can stay right here and never have to do anything else. Now, you should do other stuff, okay? But if we can just get this done, it'll be fascinating. And so many of us, myself included, you get started on this workout routine, you're all excited, you're pumped up, and just life gets in the way, and then you don't do it anymore. So this is going to be something that you can do every day of your life. I do, forever. And you're probably going to add so many years to your life. When I coach seniors, senior citizens, not senior high schoolers. When I teach senior citizens, coach them, I always talk about the two things that are going to give you probably 10, 20% better health. And from a supplement standpoint, for senior citizens, it would be a vitamin B complex, specifically B12, but I'd recommend a B complex, and vitamin D. Vitamin D helps you absorb calcium. As long as you have vitamin K2 with it, the calcium is taken into the body and driven into the bones. If you take vitamin D without K2, the calcium can build up in your arteries and can actually lead to heart disease. How many people knew that? Not a lot. So I have doctors all the time prescribing 50,000 international units of vitamin D2. I don't like D2. I like D3. 50,000 international units of vitamin D2, no K1. No K2, I'm sorry. D2, no K2. Then the patients start developing heart disease and hardening the arteries, and the muscles get stiff, and calcium starts to build up in the joints. And the doctors say, well, let's give you another drug for that, another drug for that. I'm not against drugs. But you have to understand how the body works when you start talking about things like vitamin D. So vitamin D3 with K2 and B complex. If I gave everybody over 60 those two things, we would change healthcare dramatically. It would cost about 10 cents a day, maybe 20 cents if you get the good stuff. So that's going to be important. And then you add this cross crawl, this motion. And now you start to see exponential changes. I can't go play football like I used to. I couldn't play a game of hockey like I used to. I can't work out the way I used to. But I can do things to keep my mind and my brain working. And so exercise in this case is huge, but it doesn't have to be what you're typically thinking of. So the meta-analysis, we said, combination cost society, contributing billions of dollars of healthcare, lost productivity. I love it when I see my staff doing the cross crawl because I know I'm going to get more productivity out of them and they're going to enjoy their job more. It's not hard. It's really easy. So again, I kind of went backwards a little bit there, but vitamin D3 with K2 and B12, that would be amazing if I can get the world to do that. Better yet, if I can get them to take Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Dr. Joe's Essential Source has B vitamins in it. It has a complete multivitamin, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. It's a powder. It tastes great. In fact, I gave it to a friend of mine, and her sister was in town. Her sister looked at me and said, I'm addicted to this stuff. It tastes great. I feel so good when I take it. Why haven't I been taking this my whole life? I had a couple of people call my radio show just the other day. Said the same thing. Dr. Joe, I tried an experiment because I didn't believe you. I took Essential Source for a couple of weeks, and I stopped taking it. Then I took it again, stopped taking it. He said, I can't ever not take it again. I see such a difference when I take it. So simple things like that are going to give you some energy, get the brain working better, and then get you motivated to actually work out. Cross crawl is going to increase your energy level as well, but it's also going to integrate your brain so your brain works better, so you think clearer. So now the question, today's show is which is better, exercise or nutrition? I want you to do both. But I'm working with the exercise. I understand. You either exercise, you either work out or you don't. I get that. So I'm kind of giving you stuff that you can do even if you're not a workout person. Estimated age is based on exercise capacity. This is an interesting study. After a 9-year follow-up study, researchers discovered a patient's estimated age based on their exercise stress test was a better predictor of mortality as compared to their chronological age. That means if you can exercise and stay in motion, your chance are you're going to live a lot longer than you should, basically, based on the calendar age. So I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping the body in motion. Now, we talk about keeping the muscles in motion. I want to talk about keeping the bones in motion. That sounds weird, doesn't it? All the joints have to be mobile. Whether it's your foot, your skull, everything has to be in motion. If the bones move out of place, they can lock up. And if a bone locks up, you might have limited range of motion. I can't lift my shoulder. I can't move my wrist. My foot hurts. And so the key here is mobilizing your bones and your joints. One of the three things that you have to have in order to obtain and maintain good health: normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. Normally functioning nervous system we talked a little bit about with the cross-crawling and integrating the brain. But if the spine or any bones move out of place, they can lock out of place. They become fixated in the wrong position. And if you have that fixation, you may not be able to turn your neck as much. You might be able to turn your back as much. You can't squat down like you used to. The foot doesn't bend like it used to. So the simplest, easiest, most effective, least expensive treatment for that would be mobilizing the joints. That's chiropractic care. Chiropractic care takes the joints and puts them back in place so that the joints can move around again. And in the spine especially, you unpinch the nerves. When you unpinch the nerves, you open up the nerve supply from the brain to the body and back up, and starts flowing back and forth. And that becomes really exciting. When that starts to happen, that's when you start to obtain and maintain good health. So many people think of chiropractic care as pain. And my team of doctors and I are really good at pain management. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. In fact, I'm even board certified in pain management. I'm the only chiropractor in all of Georgia that's certified in pain management. But 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So for example, you don't feel your blood pressure, you don't feel your spleen, you don't feel your kidneys, you don't feel your prostate. So my team and I are trained to test the nerves that don't feel pain as well as the nerves that do. So when a patient comes in our office, number one reason is pain, but we talk about the nerves that don't feel pain, and people just lose their minds. They're like, I never heard that before. That's brilliant. So if you have a health issue, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, car accidents, sports injuries, digestive issues, nutrition concerns, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your next visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, my team of doctors and I would love to be your doctors. Go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book it right there. It's very easy, very simple. You have any questions, call us. We make it it's a very pleasant experience to be a patient in our offices, drjoe.com. So we're talking today, we're trying to answer the age-old question, what's better, diet or exercise? And again, it depends what your goal is. Weight loss, absolutely positively diet. 80% diet, probably 15, 20% exercise. Brain function, both exercise and nutrition. Because we can eat a good diet, but we've got to stimulate the brain. The brain needs oxygen, stimulation, and nutrition in order to function. So by doing things like walking, doing the cross crawl like we just talked about, getting out in the forest. There's something called forest bathing, where you get out in the forest and it lowers your stress levels, your cortisol levels drop just by being around nature. So this is kind of cool stuff. Grounding, that's another one. Walking barefoot outside. Now, walking along the beach is ideal because you're on the sand, there's water, you're exchanging electrons. You can do it outside on your grass. Just make sure the grass isn't sprayed with a bunch of chemicals. But walking barefoot is important to be touching the earth, not just walking around your house. So these are all things that can increase brain function, longevity, immune system, and it's mostly free. That's the nice part. So researchers believe findings highlight the importance of movement regardless of intensity. So again, don't get freaked out that says I have to bicycle for 50 miles, I have to lift so many weights. Regardless of intensity is what that study came up with. So as long as you're in motion, do it. Now, increasing intensity is great, but you don't have to do that. Now, I'm going to have to go to a break pretty soon. When I come back, I'm going to talk about other tricks that you can do and not even realize that you're exercising. So you can't out-exercise your diet. Okay, another phrase is you can't outrun your fork. So I've seen people that exercise like fiends. They come to see us for chiropractic care, nutrition evaluation, digestive issues, whatever it is. And they are working out and they're running like crazy. They're running marathons almost every day, or they're running miles every day, and they go to a gym and then they bicycle. And that's all well and good. And then I do an evaluation on them and they're really sick. Dr. Joe, I work out. I don't understand. If you have bones out of place, you're building up strong muscles around crooked bones. I want you building up strong muscles around straight bones. So when it comes to exercise, my feeling is it should be mandatory that you have to get your joints checked to make sure they're lined up properly. That would be like me taking a car on a racetrack and having the engine tuned up and high octane fuel and new tires on it, and I never checked to see if the alignment was correct. And then I'm driving around the racetrack. I'm not winning. Why am I not winning? I have the best gas, I have the best tires, the best pit crew, I have the best aerodynamics. Why am I not winning? Because the alignment was off. So I want you to, if you work out or if you don't work out, get the alignment in your body checked. And we can see is one shoulder higher than the other, one hip higher than the other. Is there neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain? 90% of nerves don't feel pain. We check all of that to make sure. So now you have your body tuned up the best it can be, and then we start putting a good gas in it. Results from new studies are encouraging. It's important to remember you can't outrun your fork. In other terms, exercising in the belief that this allows you to eat whatever you want significantly reduces the benefits of the exercise. You're not getting the best bang for your buck. And I see it all the time with athletes because they come in the room, they close the door. Doc, I got to talk honest with you. I'm having trouble in the bedroom. I can't sleep at night. I can't focus. I'm working out. I'm trying to work out more, and the problem's getting worse because there's misalignments in the body. And now if you tune it up, then you get this exponential jump in the benefits from exercise. Now, obesity is associated with the high risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, type 2 diabetes especially. Now, if you want to take off a few pounds and keep it off, it's critical to understand that your diet is more important than the exercise. Now, I post a lot on social media. If you don't follow us on social media, you should, by the way. It's at Dr. Joe Esposito, all one word, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. We get about 5,000 to 10,000 new followers a day on social media, and we post in 1-minute snippets. Okay, you're not going to see a whole lot. Sometimes I do a whole show or a podcast or something, but generally speaking, 1-minute snippets. Bam, bam, bam. And all over the world, people just love this format, and they love the technique. And people say, well, Dr. Joe, calories in, calories out, that's all that matters. Not true. Because if I were to eat 1,000 calories of spinach, 1,000 calories of celery versus 1,000 calories of chocolate cake, is my body going to metabolize it the same way? Am I going to get the same health benefits or the health dangers from it? No. So it's not about calories in and versus burning calories. It's about quality, putting the good food in your body. If you're putting good food in the body, it's pretty hard to gain weight. Now, 2 foods you got to be careful with if you're trying to lose weight. Avocados, which I love, and nuts, because they're both very high in fat, and that fat has about 2.5, 3 times more calories per gram than protein or carbohydrates. So just be careful about that. You can put on weight eating avocados or nuts. In fact, people ask me, Dr. Joe, how do I gain weight? Avocados and nuts. But 1 avocado, half an avocado a day, a couple of handfuls of nuts, no big deal. Those are all fine. That's going to work real well. But you can't out-exercise your mouth. Unless you're running marathons, and even then, if you're an Olympic athlete, you might need 10,000 calories a day. But you have to offset it with working out, and you can't be eating 10,000 calories worth of junk food in most cases. Now, there are some people that are genetic, I'd say freaks. They have genetic gifts that they can muscle through these things. You always have to pay the piper at some point. It's always going to catch up with you. People say, well, Dr. Joe, I've been smoking for 5 years and I don't have any problems. You don't have a problem until it's a problem. And then it's a problem. So it's going to get you. Rhythm's going to get you. Well, bad diet's going to get you too. So just understand that you can't outrun that fork. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about that. I'm going to give you some of the tips that I do to work out because I don't like working out. I'm going to tell you some of the tips that I do to stay in shape, and it's really easy. Now, if you have any questions, you can send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. In the Atlanta area, make an appointment. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. We can do remote consultations. If you want to set up a remote consultation, just set up an appointment through the website and just say remote, and we can set that up for you to do a Zoom call or whatever we need to do there. Phone consultations. We can even do old school. We can do phone consultations. So The supplements we talk about, we're going to talk about Super Green, Essential Source, nitric oxide for exercise, glutathione for liver. All of those are on the website as well, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. At Dr. Joe Esposito is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and other social media. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. All right. We have any questions?
There are a couple. After eating, how long should I wait before working out?
Usually about 2 hours, I would say. And it depends what you eat. Now, if I have a piece of steak, which I wouldn't, but if I would have a piece of steak, it takes about 4 to 6 hours to get it from my stomach into my small intestine. If I have cantaloupe, it takes about 20 minutes. So if you're eating a good plant-based diet, which you should be, and staying away from those animal proteins and animal fats, I'd probably say an hour or two is fine. Okay?
And does exercise reduce plaque in the arteries?
It can, yes, absolutely. But we talked about vitamin D. One of the big plaque builder-uppers is vitamin D without K2. And I see it all the time. But yeah, exercise will increase the circulation, increase the antioxidants, and can bring down plaque. But that's really more diet than exercise. Most plaque, and I would say all, but I very seldom say all, is due to diet. And in almost all cases, it's manageable, and oftentimes it's reversible. And that's Dr. Who did that research there? Dr. Sinatra, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. McDougall. They went out to prove that heart disease is reversible, and they found the answer is yes. In most cases, it is reversible through diet. So just do it. You did it. Stop it from happening.
How could I go about increasing my hemoglobin?
Well, exercise will help there too. We always have to look at the liver and bone marrow when it starts coming to hemoglobin. Iron-rich foods can help, but I don't like meat as an iron source, and I don't like a lot of supplements they give because a lot of supplements are actually iron from the ground. And if you take iron, you don't have enough vitamin C, it's not going to be absorbed. If you have too much vitamin C with iron, it can affect copper levels. So you got to be careful. It's not like I'm going to take this iron pill and I'm going to build up my iron and my hemoglobin. So you want to make sure you get the proteins broken down properly. You want to make sure you're getting enough iron to make that hemoglobin. So I would say Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source solve a lot of those problems. And I've had many patients over the years that they had low hemoglobin, and I get them on Super Greens and Essential Source, and their hemoglobin comes back normal within a couple of months. So I would say Super Green, Essential Source, cut out the animal proteins, and then keep the body in motion. And in most cases, that's going to help the liver, and that's going to help the bone marrow, and that's going to help everything work better. So, what else?
That's all for the first segment.
Beautiful. Okay. Ready for round two? All right, ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. I am glad you're with me today. What we're talking about today is we're trying to answer the age-old question, which is better, exercise or diet? And the answer is both, actually, but it depends what you're shooting for, but you want to work on both. So we talked about obesity and heart disease and losing weight. Losing weight is almost always mostly diet. Because I have people tell me all the time, Dr. Joe, I work out 6 days a week, 7 days a week, I can't lose weight. All right, let's look at what you're eating. And then I look at what they're eating. In many cases, well, after a workout, I have a beer. Well, I earned that beer because I worked out. No, you didn't. Well, I eat a lot of fatty foods. You know, I work out, so I'm okay eating chips. I'm okay eating fried foods. I'm okay eating French fries. No, you're not. You can't outrun your fork. You can't outwork out your diet. So once I sit them down and change their diet, then the exercise kicks in and they get these amazing results. And they say, why didn't I do that sooner? I didn't understand. I thought as long as I worked out, I had amnesty. No, you don't. Okay, you want to get the benefits from both. It doesn't take long to see the health effects of a poor diet or lack of exercise. According to research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, changes can happen in your body, adverse changes can happen in your body after a single meal. It can adversely affect your blood chemistry, your plaquing, the hardening of the arteries, your immune system. One simple meal. So it's vital to recognize the importance of balancing a good diet with your exercise. Otherwise, we said earlier, if you have bones out of place, you're building up strong muscles around crooked bones. Or you're trying to build this great race car, you're putting bad gas in it. and you can't figure out why you're not getting the results you want. Now, some people early on, and when you're young especially, can muscle through things. You will have to pay at some point. You can't get away with it forever. I smoke, Dr. Joe, and I don't have any problems. I drink every night, Dr. Joe, and I don't have any problems. Yeah, you do. They just haven't shown up yet. And they will. They always do. So a couple of things to do to clean the body out. We have something on our website, drjoe.com. It's called the 21-Day Detox. And it's a really great protocol because you get to eat a lot of food, but it's only from this one list of foods. And you take supplements and powder shakes and things like this. And after 21 days, amazing things happen. Because so many people now in our society have something called fatty liver. Now, when I went to school, fatty liver meant you were an alcoholic. That was it. There was no other answer to it. Now we see fatty liver in 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. And a lot of that has to do with high fructose corn syrup. And high fructose corn syrup in your body has to be processed from fructose into glucose. And in the process of doing that, the body produces uric acid. It creates fat in the liver. Uric acid prevents nitric oxide production. And it's just a cascade of messy things happening. So the 21-day cleanse can help clean things out of your body. And you feel great. I've never had somebody do it who didn't lose their cravings for sugar and alcohol and everything else. So when we come to addiction, I wish everybody had to do the 21-day cleanse and then went on with their addiction treatment. Most of the times, they probably wouldn't need it. Now, cravings, when you have food cravings, there's a part of your brain that releases a chemical called dopamine, and dopamine gives you pleasure. So the nucleus accumbens is one of the places where dopamine is released. So you eat sugar, you eat alcohol, you eat meat. The brain is bombarded with this stimulation. The hypothalamus goes, the nucleus accumbens goes, I love this. I'm getting high from this. I want more. I want to release more of that dopamine. And so that's why many people can't eat a cookie. They can eat a box of cookies, but they can't eat a cookie. Because once those pleasure centers are triggered, you want more. And I am the same way you are. I'm Italian. I love bread. I think most people do. But if I can get a good Italian bread, baked, my grandmother always said the best bread is made at sea level, baked at sea level with a crispy outside, maybe some seeds on the outside, that's heaven to me. I have a bite. I want more. Thinking about it right now, I want more. I just had a flashback. When I was a kid growing up in Hoboken, New Jersey, my father knew a guy, because he was Italian. Every guy knew a guy. And he worked in a roll company. He used to make rolls. And they made these poppy seed Kaiser rolls with poppy seeds on top. And we would go there, and my dad would visit with him. And I'd go as a little kid because we didn't have the internet then. And you went with your father. And I remember the guy would take it right out of the oven. It was too hot to even handle. You have to have special gloves. And he'd hand it to me, and I'd toss it up in the air. And if I could have one of those right now, man, I would eat a whole bag. Why? Because just the thought of it is releasing dopamine in my brain, a pleasurable memory, my father and the rolls, and I want more. So you have to be careful with what you eat because eating a little bit is probably going to make you want a lot. And the perfect example is an alcoholic. An alcoholic can't have a drink. They can have many drinks, but they can't even have a sip of a drink. Why? Because they're off the wagon and they want more. I wish society would get that works for food too. You can't stop. Once you do the 21-day cleanse, you've essentially resets the brain. That's a generic phrase there. But it's amazing how that works. And you feel so much better. Now, I want to talk about exercise and diet for a second and the big protein myth. Everybody says, well, Dr. Joe, I've been working out. I need more protein. Well, there was a guy named Joe Weider, if you're old enough to remember that. And Joe Weider, and he was a bodybuilder, and he had muscle magazines and all this other stuff. And he said that if you're going to build muscle, you got to take these protein drinks, and you got to buy Joe Weider's protein drinks. And it worked. People bought a lot of protein drinks. You don't need a lot more protein if you're working out. The average person needs about 8 to 10% of their total caloric intake as protein. Anything more than that is wasted. So I can take in 50 grams, 60 grams, whatever, 20% of my diet, 30% of my diet, protein diet, all protein diet. I can do that. But that protein eventually has to be processed out of my system. And it goes through my kidneys and my liver. And when I see skin problems, when I see high blood pressure, when I see rashes, when I see people with a film on their body, it looks like a ghostly film, that's almost always kidney failure. And when I first got in practice many years ago, I saw very few cases of kidney failure. Now I see it all the time. And it scares me. And I believe a lot of it has to do with this push for these high-protein diets, these ketogenic diets. I don't like them. I understand the concept. When you eat more protein and more fat, the mitochondria in the cell burns the mitochondria. The mitochondria burns the fat instead of the sugar, and it brings your sugar levels down short term. But long term, there's a consequence. The body can have long-term issues. And even some of the people that were such advocates for the ketogenic diet, high protein, high fat diets, now are looking at the scientific research that's come out over time and are saying, wait a minute, I was wrong. And I like that. I like a scientist that can say they're wrong, myself included. If my diet consists of 30% or less of fat, I'm burning sugar. If my diet consists of more than 30%, my mitochondria start to burn fat. It's not nearly as efficient a fuel. Glucose is way more efficient. You get a lot more molecules of what's called ATP out of sugar, like 30-something to 1, as opposed to about 1 or 2 to 1 when it comes down to fat. So you're not nearly as efficient. Now, you might lose weight on it, but the long-term effects are the mitochondria being challenged, and the mitochondria can't function as well as they should. So that's why I prefer you eat a plant-based diet, whole food plant-based diet, and you can include carbohydrates like beans, like certain vegetables. Those are okay. They're actually good for you. So the ketogenic diet, not a fan. You don't need more protein. What's interesting is I've been talking about this for years. And now there's a lot of research. Professional athletes are coming out and saying, you know what, Dr. Joe, not Dr. Joe specifically, but I started going to a plant-based diet like you've recommended. My workouts have gone through the ceiling. I have so much more energy. I'm feeling better. I'm getting ripped more. I have better muscle mass. Tennessee Titans, I think half the team now has gone plant-based. Arnold Schwarzenegger is now pushing more plant-based. So we're seeing that the research, well, I shouldn't say research, the advertising that was out was wrong. And it's okay. We learned, we move on to the next step. So you don't need more protein, and too much protein is going to put stress on your kidneys and stress on your liver. And that's when you see athletes who work out all the time with high blood pressure. It's probably due to the kidneys being damaged. The kidneys and the liver are filters, and everything filters through it. So if they get backed up or damaged, it puts back pressure, and that can cause problems. Varicose veins, hemorrhoids, all of that can be related to backed up liver and kidneys. Not always, but in many cases. So it's important when it comes to exercise. Habits take a long time to break. So you have to start out, you don't have to start out slow. If you can do it fast, great, but starting out slow usually works. Many give up on fitness because of lack of free time, because it's costly, it's timing. Like I said, just stay in motion. Walk around 30 seconds an hour. And while you're doing it, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. If you can't walk, if you have balance issues, if you're in a wheelchair, do it sitting down. Just get that body in motion. Now it's not just exercise, it's a brain exercise. And that's actually more important than the physical exercise. Now, I want you to treat exercise. This is how I want you to do this. I want you to treat exercise as a stress release tool. Help you release negative feelings rather than one you have to do every day. I had a tough day. I'm upset. I feel like ice cream. I feel like mac and cheese. Anybody do that? Yeah. I hate the word comfort food. It scares me. And so what you're going to say is, you know what? I need to unwind. I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. I want to be happier. And then the exercise changes. As opposed to being a chore, it becomes something that's going to give you pleasure. And it does. It works really well. You can do just about anything you want to do to stay in motion. Now, what I do is I have resistance bands in my kitchen, and when I see them, I use them. I have little hand weights in my kitchen. So I'm standing around waiting for water to boil or something like that. Pick up the weights. A couple of, 10, 20, 30. Doesn't matter. Just do something. I have a rubber band, an exercise rubber band, in my shower. Because when I shower, I have an old traumatic brain injury in my head, and when I have a shower, I like to put the warm, water on my brain, and it helps with my traumatic brain injury. That's been there since I was 10 years old. Never goes away, by the way. You can manage it, which I've done, but there's always trauma to the brain. And while I'm standing there, I'll just kind of take the rubber band and just stretch it out. I can put it behind my back and do like I'm doing a bench press, or just sideways. And just a little bit of motion here and there. That's all you need. You don't have to be hitting the gym so hard. So what I have to do, and I do this with my Super Greens and Essential Source as well, is I have them right out on my kitchen counter. And I have to have them there so I remember to take them. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I always remember to take them. But I find when you leave it there, it's a lot easier. When I have the weights sitting on my kitchen table, I can sit there and just do a couple of weights here and there. I can do the stretchy band whenever I want to. I can do the cross crawl. When I get out of bed, one of the things I do when I get out of bed and walk to the bathroom, do the cross crawl. You might get 5, 6, 7 in. That's all you need. Let's wake up the brain. Let's wake up the body, create balance. And now you're seeing the benefits of exercise. Then I go take my Super Greens and Essential Source, because if you're not doing that, you should be, by the way. I take Super Greens and Essential Source every day. They're 2 powders. They taste great. It's the minimum supplements my body needs every day. And I so look forward to starting my day with that. And that's a lot of fun. And then I have some fruit. And in the meantime, I'm in the kitchen. I make my tea. I drink a glass of tea in the morning, big cup of tea, and I always take a cup of tea with me. And so I'll do my cross crawls. And then I'll have the bands there. If I want to do bands, I have the weights if I want to do weights. And so I'm keeping my body in motion as soon as I get up. I was somewhere. I was a guest speaker at a conference in London the other day. It was via Zoom. And beforehand, I was talking to the administrator, and he said, Dr. Joe, I've spoken to you a few times. He says, you're not young. He says, how do you keep the energy that you have? How do you look as young as you do? And I said, it really is very simple. You want to approach life with, what is this going to do for me in a positive way? If I'm going to exercise, what benefits are there? If I'm going to take supplements, what benefits are there? If I'm going to eat this food, what benefits are there? And that's how I've always based my career of 38 years as a chiropractor and a pain management and nutrition specialist, is how can I make my body better? Because I'm my number one patient. So if you have pain and you try exercising through the pain, I'm going to work through it, not a good idea. Because you're probably doing more damage. And the older we get, the ligaments get damaged, the discs get damaged, the joints get damaged, and they don't repair like they used to. So regardless of what your age is, you could be fresh out of the womb or you could be over 100 years old. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, chances are you're suffering needlessly. You don't have to be suffering. Biggest complaint I get, why didn't I do this sooner? I hear it every single day. Dr. Joe, I've seen all these other doctors. Dr. Joe, I've never been to any doctors. I'm so glad I finally came to see you guys. So if you want to make an appointment in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We can get you in this week. We always have openings in every office every week. We leave it open for new patients. We accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. Normally the first visit is $940. We've reduced that for you, the listeners, to $299. And when you come in, exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, complete nutrition evaluation. X-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. So drjoe.com, we would love the opportunity to show you how much better your body can function. And can we help everybody? No, but we have an extremely high success rate. So drjoe.com. So think about how you can keep the body in motion. Once you start exercise, once it becomes a daily habit, you want to consider ramping up the intensity. But again, intensity is not the key here. Motion is the key. You can do something called high-intensity interval training. That was big for a while. And what you can do is, and it's the quickest, easiest workout you can do, you could probably do it in just a few minutes, is work out as hard as you can, whatever that exercise is. You could run in place, you could lift weights, you could do push-ups. You want to do that for about 20 seconds. As hard as you can, and then rest for the rest of the minute. Rest about 40 seconds. And then do it again. If you do that 8 times, you get the equivalent of about a 20-minute hardcore aerobic workout. So if you have 8 minutes to give me, that's great. If you can do the cross crawl, even just sitting in a chair yoga for 7 or 8 minutes, that's all I'm asking for you. And you don't have to do it all at once. Give me 7 minutes throughout your day. Give me a minute an hour. It's all I want from you. 1 minute every hour you've got your workout in. Now, again, more intensity, the better, and I understand that, but we're talking about most people, the average person. There are those super people that love working out, and I love them, but I had a friend of mine, and she used to love to run and do yoga and exercise, and she was just a fiend. And I didn't see her for a couple of years. And I mean, she would run. When I say run, she'd go run 20 miles on a Tuesday night and then take a yoga class and then go to work the next day. And I saw her one day. We were at an event, and I looked at her, and I didn't recognize her. She had overtrained so much that she was so old-looking and raggedy and wrinkly. And she overdid it. Because when you exercise, you produce something called free radicals. Now, free radicals are like Pac-Man. They eat through things. Waka, 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 waka. And that's what free radicals do. Now, when you're exercising, you're doing a lot of free radicals, you have to do something called antioxidants to combat the free radicals. Where do we get antioxidants from? Fruits and vegetables are great sources. Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. One of the gazillion benefits, and I exaggerate there, of Super Greens and Essential Source is they're a great source of antioxidants. So they attack the free radicals and help slow down the damage that the free radicals do, essentially slowing down the aging process. So I don't see a downside to Super Greens and Essential Source. So go to the website, drjoe.com, order them, get on an automatic subscription, because otherwise you're going to run out and you're going to say, oh, yeah, I got to order that, and I'll forget. And you can cancel a subscription at any time. It's not like you're locked in for a year or anything like that. There's no contract. But I find that if you get them automatically, it's better. Because then if you didn't take them and you see another shipment coming, you say, ooh, I've been falling behind. I got to take them. So those are the minimum. Another supplement I want to talk about with you is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. And when you work out, you produce nitric oxide. It's one of the reasons why you get lower blood pressure. But as you get older, your nitric oxide production capability drops dramatically. And so I take Dr. Joe's nitric oxide. Now, a lot of people take it pre-workout because it gives them a big burst of energy. Some people take it post-workout. My friend Tim's a mountain biker. And he says, man, as long as I take my Super Greens and Essential Source before I work out, and I take the nitric oxide after I work out, he says, I have no stiffness whatsoever. And if he skips it, he says, if I go mountain biking, I'm done for 3 days. Now, he's in his 60s. He says, I'm done for 3 days. I can't function. I have to lay around on a couch. I can't go out. I just feel awful. But if I take Super Greens and Essential Source, and you can take that as a pre-workout, and you can mix it with coconut milk, almond milk, water, that's fine. And then the nitric oxide afterwards, or vice versa, pretty amazing. Now, I like to take them both together, to be honest with you, because I like the energy that the nitric oxide gives me and the clarity, and then the Super Greens and Essential Source, of course. Now, I have trouble taking Super Greens and Essential Source at night because I can't sleep. It gives me so much energy. I feel so good. I'm not tired, just wide awake. So key points to remember when you're working out. Listen to your body. If it starts to hurt, stop, come see us. Pain is a warning sign. It's telling you that there's something wrong. Don't muscle through it. Get your chiropractic evaluation, get it fixed, and then get more benefit out of your workout. Exponentially better workouts, as long as the body's tuned up properly. Consistency is the key. And just do it every day. You don't have to do a lot. Just do a little every day, and you'll find that you have a lot more energy, and you want to do more then. You got to stay hydrated. Most of us don't drink enough water. And because our brain, as we get older, doesn't let us get thirsty like it used to. When you were an infant, there was a part of your brain that controlled hunger and a part of your brain that controlled thirst. And as you got older, those two parts of the brain grew together, and now you have a tough time distinguishing between hunger and thirst. Part of the brain is called the hypothalamus. And that's why you have to make sure you're drinking enough. And I know that I get headaches and I get achy if I don't drink enough water. So I have to wake up, have my tea. I usually have a couple glasses of water. I take a cup of tea with me. And then right around 3, 4 o'clock, I stop drinking, because otherwise I wake up at night and I pee and I can't sleep very well. So, welcome to getting older. So it's very helpful to get that water into the system. And if you're working out or not working out, it's going to give you lots of energy. And I posted on social media a while ago, the simplest trick to get energy is drink more water. It's really simple, and most of us don't get enough. So eat the right diet. Stay away from the foods that are hard to digest. The alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. I know that's your whole diet. Don't yell at me. But Stay away from those foods because they're hard to digest and they don't give you a good return on investment. Better return on investment: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and just type in the search bar, "So what can I eat?" And we talk about what you can eat. It's very simple. Just do that. I've written books on it. Eating Right for the Health of It, Prescription for Extreme Health. I've written books on it. We have audios on my website. And by the way, searching the website is absolutely free. We have about 4,000 hours of content on the website. It's absolutely free. So type in what you're looking for, and I think you'll be very pleased with what you find. We have books. We have supplements. We have audios. We have videos. We have podcasts. We have radio shows. We have television shows. I try to give you the format that works best for you because I know different people learn different ways. And some people can't read. I was talking to one of my patients earlier this week, and she used to be a school teacher. And I said, we post every day on social media 1-minute facts. And we, like I said earlier, we get 5,000 to 10,000 new followers a day all around the world. And she said, when you were young and I was young, because she's older than me, and she said, we read. She says, but I find myself now, if it's over a minute, I phase out. So we'll give it to you in 1-minute bites if you want it. We have long versions. We have podcast versions. We have 20-minute versions. We have 2-hour versions. Whatever works best for you. Videos on YouTube. So follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, at Dr. Joe Esposito, and decide what format works for you. It's all there for you. If you want to make an appointment, when you make an appointment, go to our website, drjoe.com. You can call us from the website, book it right online. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website. I am happy to answer your questions for you. All the supplements we talked about, Super Green, Essential Source, nitric oxide, vitamin D with K2, digestive enzymes, a bunch of others, they're all on the website as well, drjoe.com. And if you're a podcast junkie, just go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it, all separate words. At Dr. Joe Esposito is all one word. But folks, I would love the opportunity to sit down with you one-on-one and put together a protocol to help not only get you out of pain, but mobilize the joints, get more out of your exercise, put together a nutrition protocol so that you can get well and stay well. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. Yes, Damon? Damon's here handing notes. Damon's tripping over things. Damon drinks a lot at lunch. So, yeah. Fermented.
It's a love note. Should I share this with the class?
Can we share it with the class? Okay, yeah. All right, love note.
All right. Is taking emergency once or twice a week a good option to maintain good vitamin C for supporting the immune system against illness?
I like the concept of emergency. The problem with it is it's ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is only 1/8 of the vitamin C molecule. So I'm fine with you taking it. I'd rather see you take something like Super Greens and Essential Source and vitamin D. That would be a better choice to get your immune system up and running. So,
I have pain in my liver.
yes, you do, because most people have fatty liver. You want to come see us for that because we got to put together a nutrition protocol for that. Again, if you're in the Atlanta area, we'd love to see you. If you're not in the Atlanta area, we can do a virtual call. But we want to put together a specific protocol for you to get that liver cleaned out. And the nice part is usually you can. If you go to the website, drjoe.com, type in 21-day, that's all you have to do, and you'll come up with the 21-day detox program. The cool part about the liver is this. It's one of my favorite organs. My favorite nerve is the vagus nerve. I think my favorite organ is the liver. The liver is the only organ that regenerates itself. Kidneys don't really do a good job at that. The heart doesn't do a good job at that. Your ovaries, your testicles. The liver, if I removed 70% of your liver, it would grow back. That's how cool it is. So the liver is the easiest organ to work with, and that's why it's probably one of my favorites. But 21-day cleanse, you can go to website, drjoe.com, just type liver in the search bar. But you got to clean that out because you're not breaking down your hormones, you're not detoxifying properly, your blood pressure's not flowing easily, you're not generating things like glycogen properly. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on when the liver doesn't work. So come see us. What else?
What is the best breakfast you can eat?
Super Greens and Essential Source. Start every day with it, even when I travel. Super Greens and Essential Source. I use coconut milk or almond milk, whatever on sale. You can make your own if you want to. I do that a lot. And then I have fruit. So this morning was an orange. My fig tree is going crazy, so I ate figs, a lot of figs today. And then I had a mango. And so that started my day. Now, around 10 o'clock, 10:30, I started getting hungry. So I had a tomato salad because my garden is almost done with tomatoes. I have a few leftover tomatoes. So I had a tomato salad, and then I had some dried mango right before the show and a couple of nuts. And that's what I've eaten so far today.
Now, what were you doing for breakfast on the cruise?
Oh, God, the cruise is the easiest place in the world to eat. Oh, my God. Everybody says, oh, cruise, I can't go there. I'll eat. No, it's the easiest place. Fruit, they had fruit everywhere. So fruit was easy. They had salads constantly. You could always have that. I didn't eat eggs. I didn't eat bacon. I didn't eat fried potatoes. They did have some baked beans. I did have some baked beans once just to try them. They were vegan. They were okay. Nothing spectacular. There's always vegetables. Most cruises, if they have a buffet, which they all do, they have an ethnic section. And that's where I ate most of my meals. So they had Asian. They had Korean. They had Indian, a lot of Indian food. But I always had something raw at every meal. But breakfast for the cruise is just heavenly because it's all done for you. It's all picked and peeled and washed and ready to go. So
My favorite is probably muesli.
muesli's great too. Yes. If you don't know what muesli is, I discovered this right after I graduated college back in 1984. This guy Pete and I bicycled the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, and Wales. And we stayed in hostels. Now, I'd never done this before. I grew up really poor. I didn't see much of the world. In fact, I'd never gone. The only place I ever went when I was 10 years old, I went to Germany with my grandparents to meet my relatives. I got hit by a car, and that's why I got my traumatic brain injury. They thought I was dead. So we were very poor. My father was disabled, so we didn't travel at all. And so this was a big trip for me. And we stayed in hostels, staying with other people, really cool. And I was introduced to muesli. And it's oatmeal, nuts, dried fruit, pretty much it, right?
You can make it pretty much however you want. It's just dried grains and either dried fruit or fresh fruit or raisins, what have you. So you can make it 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will just add a little bit of milk to it.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's like what cereal's supposed to be.
That's what cereal should be. Exactly right. Garrett's exactly right. It's not supposed to be this sugary, crunchy, junky stuff. And to buy muesli, unbelievable how expensive it was. Like $10 for a bag. You can make your own. Get some oatmeal, get some organic nuts, get some organic dried fruit, mix it together. You got muesli. But yeah, muesli is a great breakfast too. Mm-hmm.
And there's a big trend now for like overnight oats or chia seed pudding.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very, very easy to do.
Easy to do, so good for you. Yeah.
And that's just oats or chia seeds with a little bit of plant-based milk. Shake it up, leave it in the fridge overnight. It's ready in the morning.
That's it. Yeah, so your breakfast is ready to go. You can't say you don't have time. So, all right, what else we got?
Easy as Essential Source.
Yes, nothing substitutes for Essential Source and Super Greens though. Although you can mix it in with your oatmeal if you wanted to.
Is there a natural remedy for varicose veins?
That's a tough one because the veins are already damaged. Now you want to stop them from getting worse is the key. So it's if I cut myself and there's a scar, we can do certain things, but many times the damage is done. So you want to clean out the liver, first of all. 21-day detox is great for that because if the liver is backed up, that can cause that back pressure. You want to make sure you're getting enough of bioflavonoids. Bioflavonoids are phytonutrients, phyto mean plant nutrients, that help keep the integrity of the blood vessel walls. It keeps the blood vessel walls strong. Great source of phytonutrients. Super Greens an essential source. And then nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation. So if you have low blood pressure, don't take nitric oxide. If you have high or normal blood pressure, absolutely, I'd say nitric oxide. So nitric oxide, Super Green, essential source. And if you're going to take vitamin D3, which you should, make sure there's vitamin K2 with it, and that prevents clogging of it. So if they're there, it's kind of hard. You can get treatment for that, but you want to prevent them from happening in the future. So you have them on the outside, you have them on the inside too. What else?
Is brown sugar any healthier than white sugar?
No. It's a gazillionth of a degree slightly better, but the answer is no. So.
And I know your answer to this one, so I have a follow-up to it. But
okay.
Is there a caffeine-like substance in Essential Source and Super Greens?
No, we just put heroin in there. No. There's no heroin in there. No, there's no caffeine-like substance in there at all. No.
Now, if that was if that was posed against your constant energy, is there a use it or lose it mentality to energy?
Yes. Yeah, the more you use it, the more you have. Absolutely. It's one of those things, the more you do, the better you are at it. And so I know there are some days where I just want to sit. I have a wonderful chair in my house. I love watching TV. And I'll sit there in a chair and I'll just feel myself melting into the chair. And I'll say, I got to get up. I got to go do something. So I'll go work in the garden. I'll do cross crawl. I'll run up and down the stairs a few times. And then suddenly my day changes. Oh, I don't want to watch TV right now. I want to go do this. Oh, I forgot. I got to go change the sheets in the bedroom. I got to do the laundry. I got to take care of myself. You know what? Let me go to the store and let me get some food so I can make food for the next week. So, yeah, once you get energy, you'll have a lot more energy. And so Super Green Essential Source is a good jump start.
A little harder with new Futurama episodes?
I don't have Hulu, though. I love Futurama, but I don't have Hulu. So, yes. So I have to wait for them to come out on the regular stations, I guess. What if they're on YouTube? I should look. Somebody probably bootlegged them there. What else we got?
Is the liver detox something that even diabetics can do?
Yes, absolutely. Lots of questions. You guys are smart today.
Would you recommend drinking aloe vera water due to its brilliant healing property?
You can, as part of a protocol. You know, many times, and I don't know what your question is, but I'm going to use my past experience. Many times people say, can I do this for that? Can I do nitric oxide for high blood pressure? Absolutely. But you need to find out why you have high blood pressure. Can I do aloe vera for healing properties? Absolutely. But it's part of a protocol. And make sure you get the real aloe vera. A lot of it is junk. You want to do aloe vera gel. A lot of times they give you the junk stuff. It's cheaper. So make sure you're getting a good quality one. But yeah, aloe vera is great as part of a protocol.
Small grape tomatoes have lots of seeds. Are large tomatoes therefore better for you?
No. Seeds pass right through you. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you a little story. I grew up in New Jersey. There's a story. And some guy was going to save money on his lawn, so he got sewage. And he put it all over his lawn as fertilizer. He wasn't going to pay for fertilizer. Well, guess what? He grew tons of tomato plants because seeds pass right through you. And they had tomato plants from people's poop from all over New Jersey. That was in the news. I just remember thinking that was so funny. What else you got?
Is stevia good to use?
Stevia is fine. I don't have a problem with stevia, yeah. Don't use a lot of it, but you don't need a lot of it. So,
what would be the best sweeteners to use if you had
stevia, Lohan is great. Monk fruit is great. Those are pretty much my top three.
And what do you think about fasting?
Excellent. I fast at least 12 hours a day. So what do you mean by that? If I have dinner at 5 o'clock at night, I don't have breakfast till 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, once or twice a week, I'll fast a lot longer than that. I'll fast from like 2 or 3 in the afternoon until the next morning. But I like having dinner. I enjoy dinner. It's a pleasurable experience for me. So, and I like breakfast because it gets my day started. So, yeah, I want to have my dinner as early as I can in the day and then not eat again until the next morning. So, midnight snacks and snacking while watching TV, don't do it ever. Once you've had your last meal, you have to shut down the kitchen. You're done. At least 12 hours a day, if not more. Mm-hmm.
And that's all for today.
That's great. You guys are awesome, man. You had some great questions for me. I appreciate it. If we didn't get to your question, drjoe.com, send it to me through the website. If whatever platform you're on, go to the other platforms and say at Dr. Joe Esposito. And you'll follow us on other platforms. Please do that. If you're listening live, put in hashtag live right now. If you're listening on a replay, put in hashtag replay. I appreciate that. And any questions, I will get you on the website. I'll see you next week.